You're live.
Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. I pray that you all had a wonderful day with family and friends, your loved ones. We are here today with Trophy of Life. We are rendering hope and encouragement to everyone, no matter where you are, no matter who you are. Um, I am a board member with Trophy of Life, where Portia Wheatley is the visionary and founder. And we want to provide hope and encouragement today to the women and men who have experienced loss in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I believe that we all, at some point in life, have experienced loss on some level, and it is difficult at times to get through that. And today, I have my cousin, Stephanea White, here with me to talk a little bit about living with grief. Um, Please take a moment before we get started to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can go ahead and search YouTube for Portia Wheatley Trophy of Life. Hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions about whether you would like to partner and how to partner with Trophy of Life, you want to make any donations, or if you want to volunteer with us, we have plenty of opportunities to volunteer in the community. And so you can get that information. You can email us at info@trophyoflife.org or trophyoflife@gmail.com. All right. So now that we've gotten all of that out the way, we're going to go ahead and get started and chat for a little bit. Um, I'm going to speak with Miss Stephanea. How have you been today?
I have been great, just trying to decompress and recharge from this very, 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 very busy Thanksgiving week.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I am glad that you are here to talk with us and share a little bit of your story of living with grief. Miss Stephania is a writer, she is a singer, she is a podcaster, she is a blogger, um, and she also um, caters or tailors her blogs to grief content. She's a grief content creator, and we are going to talk about her process, what she's been through, and how she is able to go ahead and reach those in the community, those around her who are living with grief. All right. So, Stephanie, grief is definitely um, difficult on some level. So, tell us, walk us through your journey of where you are and how we got to this place of living with grief.
Whew. So the place where I am now, I would say is leaps and bounds from where I used to be.
Mhm.
I feel like I am just in a more peaceful place. Like I have my two cats and my dog.
Mhm.
Um, and my cats are always getting into something.
Mhm.
It's all mischief all the time. My dog, he is old and just, really can't do a whole lot now. So life has slowed down a whole lot. And I moved into my first house.
Yay!
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I moved out to the country, and so life has slowed down. And so I'm just getting to the point where I can breathe
Mhm.
and I am starting to settle down. And my version of that is different. I don't have a husband, don't
Mhm.
have children. Um, but that means to me where I am starting to live the life that I want to. I can sing as loud as I want to in my house. I can dance around at midnight if I want to. I don't need to be quiet for anybody.
Right.
Um, I can cook a meal if I want to. I cannot cook if I want to.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting comfortable with life right now. That's where I am. And getting comfortable with silence. I've lived in apartments for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
so having that constant noise, so getting used to the quiet is also weird, but
Mm-hmm.
now that I am, it's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but in this aspect of learning to live with grief, it being in the stillness, it is starting to bring back those memories of when I was in the thick of my grief. And those times were hard.
Mm-hmm.
Those times were very hard. I recently just pulled out the box that I made for her, and all of those memories started to come back. Moving brings back a lot of memories because you're moving around memories.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and finding the right place to put her stuff, it's special. And I still haven't found that place. So
Okay, I get that. Well, tell us, who is she? Explain to us, to the audience, who we're
so
talking about.
my baby, her name was Melody. I chose to name her Melody because I do like to sing as you say, but I'm shy about that, so we're not. Um, Her name is Melody Nicole. And names hold a lot of meaning for me.
Hmm.
Melody, obviously, because as I just said, I like to sing, but Nicole means voice of the people. So it's very interesting how I chose to use my voice, aka her voice, to be a voice of other people.
Hmm.
Um, and she wasn't with me for long, but she still holds an impact in my life. And I like to think for the others who I share my journey with.
Hmm.
Um, and at the time, it was 2016 when I lost her. And since then, I like to read. And so once I lost her, I did a lot of research online. I was like, I had never known anybody who had lost a child. So I was like, when you lose a baby, what happens now?
Hmm.
And so I found programs who send at candles. They sent me a bear. They sent me a wind chime, just something for me to hold.
Hmm.
That way my arms don't feel empty. And I
Right.
thought that was beautiful. Um,
Absolutely.
I still have the wind chime. I was able to put it up. I brought it inside because it was storming not too long ago. I was like, I don't want to lose it. So
Hmm.
I brought it inside, and but I still have the wind chime all these years later. I actually ended up giving the bear to a friend of mine who lost her child. So it's good for me to be able to gift things away, you know.
Right. Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so even in my writing, I make sure to use her name a lot. So my writing name is her first name.
Okay.
So I try to make sure to keep her name alive
I get that. Yeah.
as
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah. So listen, I read somewhere where it said grief is just love with no place to go.
Hmm.
And I thought about that. I was like, wow, that's crazy. But when you are grieving, you have this love for that person or that, you know, animal, even, people grieve over animals because they are like family. And when you lose that love, you don't know what to do with it. So when I read that statement, I was like, wow, that kind of, hit. What are your thoughts about that?
I feel like that hit home. The very first time I saw that quote, it really hit home with me because I always saw myself as a mother. always saw myself as a mother. And when I lost I say my only child because right now I don't have any, and I don't know if that's in the cards for me. There's nothing as far as to say that I can't have children,
Right.
but I just don't know if that's in the cards for me.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I say my only child. Um, so when I lost her, I was devastated, devastated. I was angry, absolutely angry. Um, I had real talks with God. I said, "Hey, listen, this wasn't fair, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm upset with you." I said, "I am this close to saying I hate you." And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's valid. I feel like that's fair right now. Um, and at the time I lived with my mom in Kinston
Mm-hmm.
and I worked Raleigh. So that's an hour and a half drive. So that's a long time for me to have a conversation.
Yeah. Sit and think and drive. Mm-hmm.
No radio, no music. Um, and so I really did. And even when I was pregnant, I would, you know, hold her and say like I'm scared, but I was like, I'm so excited
Mm-hmm.
and to lose that. And then every week, like I had an app and it would tell me like how much she's grown and all this kind of stuff. And when she was gone, I would still be counting. And I remember I called my best friend and I said, I can't stop counting. I
Mm-hmm.
can't stop counting my weeks, my months. I can't stop counting. And so that was heartbreaking. And so during that long drive, I said, God, just take the counting away. Like I want to stop counting.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you took that away from me. You took my only chance away from me. And so I totally understand that quote. I totally understand that quote. It is love with no place to go. And so that's why I'm glad that I have an outlet, which is my writing, because
Right.
that's where my love can go,
Mm-hmm.
is my
And
writing.
even in, yes, even in that, in your writing. So, with grief, right? There are books out there are videos out there that let us know the processes of grief,
Mhm,
the different stages of grief.
mhm,
There are things that say there's 5 stages of grief, 7 stages of grief. It doesn't matter how many stages there are, it's grief. And there are stages that you go through. You don't stay in the same place, right? Um, so, and like you said, no matter where you were in your pregnancy, that baby existed and she mattered.
mhm,
So where in that healing process with dealing with grief,
mhm,
like there's shock and denial, there's pain and guilt, there's anger, there's bargaining, there's depression, reflection. You might feel lonely even though you do have others around you that you can reach out to and talk to, but sometimes you feel like they don't want to hear that, so it makes you feel lonely.
mhm,
You have that time where you feel like you're on that upswing where you're like, oh, okay, I'm in a good place, that recovery stage, um, reconstructing your life, trying to put things back together. Um, and then you got acceptance, right? Because
mhm,
you go through all of this and you think you've accepted that this is what's happened, but in reality you don't. Like everything is sitting in the back. So you know going through all of those stages, what was it that got you through, or how did you get through that process of grief and loss? Like how did you begin to cope when you saw yourself going through those different stages? What did you do to cope?
I'll tell you the very first time I laughed. On one of my long drives to work, I asked God, I wouldn't necessarily call it a prayer, but I guess anytime that you talk to God, it is a prayer, but it wasn't like, oh, Father God. It was just like, hey, God, just make me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was listening to a comedy, like on Spotify. I don't know if you know this, but on Spotify, they have comedy sketches that
Mhm.
you can just, play.
Mhm.
And Arnez J had, who I love, who can never, he always makes me laugh. He never
Mhm.
fails to make me laugh. He was talking about his brother Rodney, and I've heard it many times before,
Mhm.
but it was just on, and it was just noise in background, but I just had it on. And for whatever reason, it just made me laugh to the point where my mouth was hanging open and
Mhm.
I was truly like I was just crying laughing. And all I said was, thank you. Thank you. That's all I needed.
Mhm.
Um, Whenever I feel low, and it could be me thinking about melody or just low in life, I turned to comedy. It was that. Ricky Smiley has a phone prank where the title is called Back Then.
Mhm.
I turn to that one, gets me every time. Um, I turned to comedy, and it took me a while to get to a place where I thought it was okay to laugh
Mhm.
because I was like, oh, well, maybe it's too soon. If people see me laughing, they're gonna say, why are you laughing?
Mhm.
It's too soon. It's too soon. Um, but I needed it. I have to realize that I know what I need.
Mhm.
I know myself better than anybody. Um, and as long as it's not hurting anybody else, you're not hurting yourself, cope how you need to cope.
Mhm. Yeah.
Cope how you need to cope. Again,
Mhm.
as long as you're not hurting yourself or anybody around you, cope
Mhm.
to cope.
Yeah. And you know what? I saw somewhere where it said it's okay to not feel happy all the time. Like
Exactly.
it's okay. Because sometimes you're not going to feel happy. You have to feel your feelings, let it go, go through that process. Um,
And you
but
might
you have other things to lean on, other people to lean on, other things like your comedy to lean on, but it is still okay to not be happy all the time.
absolutely, and you might find a new hobby. Like I I found that you can go to a rage room. Go do that. I went kayaking. The sound of the water swishing, awesome.
Yes.
Swimming, that is awesome. Just
Hmm.
hiking. Like I know we say Black people don't do that, but actually a lot of Black
We
people
do.
do hiking.
Yes.
Um, so just there's so many things that you can do. Go to the gun range, learn how to shoot a gun.
Hmm.
So many different things that you can do. Just as long as you're safe, again, you're safe and you're
Hmm.
not hurting anybody else, cope how you need to cope.
Hmm. Now, how did your village come into play? Did you have a village?
I
Because some
did
people
have,
don't, but
yes. So I did live with my mom at the time. And so my younger sister, who I often say is like my older sister, she one day came home, yanked me out of bed, like didn't say, come on, get up. She said, no, threw the covers back and said, get up.
hmm
Took me to the movies and we watched Get Out, which interesting choice, but it was effective because it was a very good movie. Um, and then we got scared because we thought we were being followed on the way home. But having a village like that, and then somebody stole my Nutella, so then I had to go walk up the street. So, having those things like get you out of
hmm
bed. But so I did have a tight village. So I had people yank me out of bed. I had friends who constantly called me until I answered the phone.
Hmm.
I also went to therapy.
Yes. And some people don't believe in therapy, right? We grew up in church and
Mhm.
we do love God. We have a relationship
Absolutely.
with God, but
Absolutely.
sometimes you do still need professional help,
Absolutely.
and
And
it's okay.
if it makes you feel better, there are therapists who are Christian led, who are
Hmm.
scripture led,
Hmm.
who will pray with you before, during, and after.
Hmm.
So, yes,
Therapy helps. That's a
absolutely.
good thing. I'm glad you mentioned that because I kind of actually forgot about that. But yes, therapy does help. It does help. So with your book, right? You said you cope with comedy, singing.
Yeah.
You did start a podcast at
I
one
did.
point.
I did.
So what who is your target audience? Is it just women who have lost a child, or is it women who, or anyone who has gone through loss, whether it's a child, a parent, a relative, an animal? Who is your target audience? And even in your writing, are you writing a book or?
I am writing a book.
Okay.
So it's anyone who has experienced loss, because on this journey, and it is a lifelong journey, because once you have experience, and I call it deep loss, because once you know it, you never forget it. You
Okay.
never forget it. Once you've experienced, yeah. But yes, it's anybody who has experienced loss, whether it is a pet, husband, wife, kid. Now I haven't experienced those, but um I will be writing a book about, the loss of Melody, and I'm I keep tossing on the title, and that's the only thing that is held up, but the book is done.
Okay.
Um the pictures bring me to tears. I saw them the other day and I'm just like, I can't wait to hold the book in my hand, but I just need to title it now. So I'm just waiting on that part, but anybody can read it. Um but I'm hoping to expand to other types of loss, but yeah.
Okay. Awesome. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Well, do you know when your book will be ready to come out for others to
Yeah.
purchase?
Yes. So I'm hoping to settle on a name. I'm going to give myself a deadline, January. Um,
Okay.
and then the book will be out by my birthday, which is February 20th.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. I'm excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, that's great news because that means you're still on the upswing. You're still processing and moving through it, right? And helping others while you're still going through that process.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So listen, there was a post I read. I want to say it was on your um blog,
Okay.
or yes. And it said reset,
Mhm.
readjust, restart, refocus as many times as you need to, because grief isn't easy. And that made me, that caught my eye because it made me think, you know how people say, just take it day by day. It's going to be hard, but just take it day by day. And when I read that post, I thought it's not a day by day process. It's a moment by moment process most often. And then you get to the day by day, but it's a moment by moment process. And I truly believe that. So, in that, I feel like caring for yourself, doing the things that you love to do for yourself, focusing on yourself also helps in that process, that moment by moment process. What do you, um, Did you incorporate self-love? What did you do, for yourself to make sure that you were truly taking care of yourself through this process?
Oh, it took me a long time to really start caring for myself. I thought I was. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Initially, when I started out trying to create a business surrounding grief and loss, I thought, yeah, I'm going to, help everybody and, make sure everybody is taking care of themselves. But in that, I was not taking care of myself at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why now, with my writing, this is me taking care of myself. And in that, I'm helping everybody else.
Yes.
Um, so for a while, I was so all over the place, but that was part of my healing. That
Mm-hmm.
was my journey. Um, and I lost, some friendships along the way, but that's a part of the grief journey,
Mm-hmm.
you just you find your village in this journey. Some people stick with you, some people don't.
Mm-hmm.
Some people come back, some people don't.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I really do feel like with this, and writing has been a part of me since I was a little girl. And so that's how I know this is right for me.
Mm-hmm.
This is healing for me
Right.
because a lot of times I was not able to use my speaking voice.
Mm-hmm.
So writing is healing. So how I'm able to continue healing is writing.
Yeah.
Is writing.
And continue to hold that memory of Melody, right?
Ab- Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
She has come to me in my dreams, and I don't want to cry, but she is beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
and I can feel her with me. I saw an article and I haven't read it yet because I don't think I am quite ready yet.
Mm-hmm.
But your children, when you're pregnant, no matter how long, the blood of your child stays with you. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's so beautiful. I don't
Yeah.
know how long it stays with you, like their cells stay with you.
Mm-hmm. And you continue to feel that bond. Yeah.
That's why like a mother knows what's wrong with their children.
Mm-hmm.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
So I
Yeah.
just hope I can help at least one person.
Yeah. And
I,
even in that, even in um, you're writing, right? Taking care of yourself, um, helping others, reaching out to others, making sure that they're okay, right? Helping them through their process. You still find a peace, you still have that peace within you, and it still helps you to hold that memory of Melody with you because it you do feel good on the inside because you are helping others going through that process, right? Yeah. And that makes me think back to what my pastor says all the time. He says, if it costs you your peace, it's too expensive. And that is so true. I don't care what it is. If it costs you your peace, it's too expensive. You got to let it go because your peace is valuable. And that ties into that self love. Having whatever you're doing for yourself, caring for yourself, you're also finding peace in all of that as well in that process. So,
absolutely.
yeah, you got to do what you have to do to keep your peace. And mental health is important as well. Physical health, important as well while you're going through the grief process, because everything can trigger and it'll be a domino effect, right?
That is a good point. So you actually reminded me. So I have been stretching more,
Mm-hmm.
and I have found that as I stretch certain parts of me, I'll just start crying because grief is often stored in the body as well.
Mm.
And so that's another thing that I would encourage people to do is stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Just get a ball and just start stretching yourself.
Yeah.
Don't just
That,
curl up, just
mm-hmm.
stretch.
Yep. And it helps you to release because you feel that.
And yes, it does. Yes, it
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, what would you say to others who are going through that process and are staying quiet and not reaching out to those that love them? They're trying to get through it on their own, or those that are still going through and they do have a village or spiritual community around them to help them get through that process. What would you say to these women who have experienced loss? How would you encourage them?
If anybody tells you there's a time limit on your grief or you'll get over it or oh, it wasn't that long, um, do not listen to them. There is no time limit on your grief.
Mm-hmm.
Take it 1 minute at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Get a journal, write out your feelings. It doesn't matter if you're not quote unquote a writer,
Mm-hmm.
just start writing. Um, I know it sounds cliche, but it's okay to not be okay. And when I say you will be okay, you will be okay in the sense that unfortunately, this will be your new norm where you will have to learn how to live with a hole in your heart,
Mm-hmm.
but you will laugh again.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
You will find peace.
peace. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Stephanie. I really do appreciate you coming and sharing your story and your journey through your grieving process. I recognize that it is um, challenging to talk about. It's challenging to even go through. I don't have any children. However, I know others who have gone through the same process that you have. They've experienced this, and just being there as a support, I believe, has also helped them as well. Even just being a listening ear, if they want to vent, for to have someone there to vent and to just listen, um, I think helps. And I do truly appreciate you coming and sharing with the world and Trophy of Life your process, and to encourage those women to let them know they can get through it. They will get through it moment by moment. So I thank you. I appreciate you taking your time out um, of your day, taking the time out of your day to share with us. So thank you.
Welcome. Anytime.
Yes. Thank you. So, all of you, I appreciate you tuning in with Trophy of Life. Again, if you want to become a partner with Trophy of Life, you want to give donations to Trophy of Life, because we do activities where we are in the community. We are helping others. So, if you want to donate, you please send us an email at info@trophyoflife.org or trophyoflife@gmail.com. Please go to our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. You will see other videos there of hope and encouragement, because this is not the only topic that There are other topics that other board members have presented, and we are here to encourage everyone, no matter where you are in your life, no matter what it is. Everyone needs hope and encouragement. So please go watch those YouTube videos, subscribe, and just tune in with us. We are here. We love you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Have an awesome day, everyone.